So we're starting the third video, which is on the annelids, or the segmented worms. We are in the domain Eukarya, the kingdom Animalia, and phylum is Annelida. We are going to look at three classes, or actually some are subclasses. They're starting to change how they classify some of these due to new molecular evidence. But for right now, we're just going to say three classes. The Oligoceta, which is like the earthworms, Polyceta are the bristleworms, and the Hirudinae, which are the leeches. So in your first column of your chart, under annelid, we're going to look at some of the things that you need to have to be an annelid. So obviously bilateral symmetry, that's already marked. They have a coelom, or a true body cavity, and two body openings. Their body plan is a tube within a tube. And so when we open up the earthworm, you're going to actually see that. You'll take the skin and you'll have to tease away the connective tissue, and then there'll be another tube in there that contains different organs. The setae are bristles that are found in most of the segmented worms. It helps them to move around. They have segmentation, which means that now all of a sudden they can be specialized. So one segment can be for reproduction, one segment can be with their hearts and circulatory system, etc. They have a simple brain, or ganglia, which is where all the nerves connect. We saw this before. It's just a little more evolved. When we dissect the earthworm, you will actually see the two little dots that are the brain. And we have a closed circulatory system, so all the blood is going to be inside blood vessels. Whereas an open circulatory system, the blood just sort of bathes over the tissue. This is actually going to be delivered inside of a blood vessel. All of the segmented worms have to stay moist or be in water, because they actually exchange their oxygen through their skin. We're going to discuss the reproduction for each one separately. So let me go. So here is an earthworm. It's ginormous. And so this is going to be the first class, which is the oligochaetes. And the examples here are earthworms. The earthworms eat by taking in the soil, taking nutrients from the soil, and then it exiting the other end. So we actually need the earthworms for aerating our soil and actually leaving us with cleaner, better soil than we had before. Earthworms are, if you look on your chart for reproduction, earthworms are actually hermaphrodites. So over here we have, they're not self-fertilizers, so even though they have male and female reproductive organs, they have to mate with another worm. So we have an image right here of two earthworms. This specialized body segment called a clitellum is right here, and that is where the sperm and egg, or the sperm exchange happens, and then it forms a little vessel or pod, a capsule. And these capsules are left in the soil, and basically once the worms develop, they'll eat the capsule, and then they'll go on and start eating the soil. Unique quality of the worm. Sorry for that little interruption. I had Mr. Kokensparger come pay me a visit. So I think I was talking about the unique qualities. They have setae, which are little bristles. You don't see it on a worm, but if you feel on the bottom, you'll feel those. So when we dissect the worm, you will get to see that. The next group are the polychaetes. And the polychaetes, one example is the Pompeii worm. Other examples are the Christmas tree worms or bristle worms. So here are a whole lot of examples of polychaetes. The little Christmas tree worms are some of my favorites. You can see they all have these little feathery parapodia. And so to me, trying to remember the polychaetes, I say pretty poly, and I always think of how feathery and pretty they look. And so the polychaetes have separate sexes for reproduction. Most of them will actually fertilize externally. Their unique qualities is that they have parapodia or fancy bristles with the little setae on the end for movement. They come in every color that you could imagine. So back to the screen, the polychaetes are suspension feeders, which means they basically use those feathery little bristles and they will pick out and feed from particles that are in the water around them. So the last group that we're going to talk about briefly are the Hirudinae, and they are the leeches. Pretty much they are all parasitic. Some of them will actually hunt other small little invertebrates. But as far as feeding, they have the ability to suck blood, and they have little razors that make like a Y-shaped insert, and they have an anticoagulant, or an anesthetic that they release so that you don't even feel them. So you can't coagulate, you don't clot, your blood doesn't clot, and you don't even feel them. And so oftentimes if you're in the water and there's leeches, you'll have to do a check over your body because you won't actually feel them sucking the blood out. They are hermaphroditic for reproduction, and it's called reciprocal fertilization. Reciprocal fertilization, let me put this on here, is where both of them will donate sperm to the other. Unique qualities: they do not have bristles. They don't have these visual setae or bristles like these polychaetes do. You can see all of these right here. Also, they don't have external segments. So on the outside of their body, they can look a little smoother, and you can actually see the little segments right here in the polychaete. You can definitely see them, the segments right here in the earthworm. But with the leech, the segments are internal. They have 32 segments. They have suckers at each end, so they can hang on to something and grab onto something else, but they have suckers at each end. And many times we use them for medicinal purposes. We use leeches for medicinal purposes. So I think that is about it. You should be able to fill your chart from the last two videos, and we will come back and dissect a worm. Thanks for listening.